when the final moment comes in the historical process, at the end of history, Akhirul Zaman, then truth has to triumph over falsehood for the last time. And that will be the end of history. In the case of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, there is some unfinished business. So the story is not finished yet. He's coming back. The Christian belief is that God incarnated, took human form, and came and lived on earth in the person of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, Jesus. And so when God lived on earth, that for them was the golden age. They believe that history has moved in a linear, straight line, linear direction, but constantly downhill, going down, going down, going down. Until that time comes when Jesus is to come back. And when he comes back, then truth in Christianity, or the Christian claim to truth, would be validated. So they're waiting for Jesus to come back. When he comes back, Jesus is going to be the ruler of the world from Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is the key to the end of history in the Christian view. The Jewish view is that the golden age was when Nabi Dawood and Nabi Sulaiman alayhim salam established the holy state of Israel in the Holy Land. And that holy Israel was the ruling state in the world. And so the Jews ruled the world. And truth in Judaism was triumphant in the world. That was the golden age. The Jews believe that because of their violation of the covenant with Allah, that Allah punished them. They accept that. And so they were exiled from the Holy Land. The Jews believe that Allah hath made a promise to them, that He's going to send to them one who will be known as Al-Masih, the Messiah. And when He comes, He will bring back the golden age. And Israel will rule the world one more time. And that golden age would validate the Jewish claim to truth. So history would end with truth in Judaism triumphant in the world. The Christians and the Jews both have the belief that the Messiah will come to Jerusalem, and from Jerusalem He'll rule the world. But in the Christian view, the Messiah is Nabi Isa alayhi salam. In the Jewish view, no, they don't accept that. They reject Him. They say about him, وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ هَذَا, he's a bastard. And a bastard cannot be the Messiah. No, because his mother was not married. And they said he could not be the Messiah for a second reason. Oh, we saw him die. He died before our very eyes. He never ruled the world. And so he could not have been the Messiah. And so the Jews are waiting for a Messiah to come. And they know that Allah is not like Washington. When Allah gives His word, He keeps His word. The Christian view is that the return of Jesus is close. Close. And so they are living in Akhir Zaman. The Jewish view is that the advent of the Messiah that they're waiting on is close. Close. So they believe that they are in Akhir Zaman. In order for the Messiah to rule the world from Jerusalem, the state of Israel has to be restored. In order for a state of Israel to be restored, and for Jews to return to reclaim the Holy Land as their own, the Holy Land has to be liberated, because it's under Muslim rule. Now we understand why a Pope in Rome launched the Crusades. The Crusades, which were European wars, not Christian wars, European. They were masquerading as Christian, but they were essentially European wars to liberate the Holy Land. Why? I'll tell you why. So that the Jews can return to reclaim the Holy Land as their own, so that a state of Israel can be restored in the Holy Land, so that that Israel can become once again the ruling state in the world, and so that the Messiah can rule the world from Jerusalem. It's so simple. Well, in 1917, something happened. That European world, which had launched the Crusades, finally succeeded in defeating the Ottoman Islamic Empire and taking Jerusalem, 1917. And then between 1917 and 1948, they brought back the Jews to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. This is Banu Israel. And in 1948, they restored a state of Israel in the Holy Land. The Christian world was watching. The Jewish world was watching. That these events indicate that we are in Akhir Zaman. And then the state of Israel grows and grows and grows until it becomes a superpower. We are in Akhir Zaman for the Christian and for the Jew. And so the Messiah must be around the corner. Around the corner meaning close. In order for the Messiah to rule the world from Jerusalem, and to convince the Jews that he is indeed the Messiah, then there are some things that must occur in Akhir Zaman, in addition to what has already occurred. For example, we said that in the Torah someone did some rewriting. When they rewrote the Bible, they put into the Bible, in the Torah, that the Holy Land extends from the river of Egypt, which is the Nile, to the river Euphrates, which is a lie. It's false. but it's there. So in order for the Messiah to rule the world from the Holy Land, Israel has to extend its territory and enlarge its territory to encompass the territory from the river Nile to the river Euphrates. So Israel has to wage big wars to do that. Those big wars are coming. It should not be more than a year or two from now. When you see those big wars, you know, here is concrete evidence of Akhirul Zaman. Israel has to do one more thing. So when you see the gold and silver coins coming back as money amongst the enemies, Israel has to rebuild the temple. So Masjid al-Aqsa has to go. And they've already prepared the way by using every electronic device that they have to portray the Dome of the Rock as Masjid al-Aqsa. They've already destroyed the foundations. And so don't be surprised when a very convenient earthquake occurs and the masjid is reduced to rubble. And then they rebuild the temple. When you see that happening, you know it's Akhirul Zaman. So there are many indicators by which we can tell the Jewish and Christian world is now absolutely convinced that the Messiah is coming. And now we come to the Islamic view of the end of history. Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam told us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a being and programmed that being to function as someone who would impersonate the true Messiah. And he called him Al-Masih al-Dajjal. Al-Masih al-Dajjal. In order for Dajjal to convince the Jews that he is the Messiah they're waiting on, okay, he has to liberate the Holy Land. He has to bring the Jews back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. He has to restore a state of Israel in the Holy Land. Oh, but he's already done all of that. How did he do it? The Quran tells us that Allah created human beings from Banu Adam. Human beings. I have created creatures of mine so powerful that none but I can destroy them. Gog and Magog are in the Quran. And Gog and Magog, inna ya'juja wa ma'juja mufsiduna fil ard. And with their power, which cannot be destroyed except by Allah, with their power they unleash upon the world fasad. Fasad is criminal conduct, not just sinful conduct, criminal conduct. And so Dajjal uses Gog and Magog to do this work, to wage the crusades, to liberate the Holy Land, to bring the Jews back to the Holy Land, to restore the state of Israel. He uses Gog and Magog. Allah speaks in the Quran about Jerusalem. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. A people, a town has been destroyed, and Allah has expelled the people of the town. And He's put a ban on them that they can never return. Until Gog and Magog are released, Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And very soon, Dajjal is going to appear in person, ruling the world from Jerusalem and declaring that I am the Messiah. However, this is not the end of history. The Jews are celebrating, but this is not the end of history. History will now end When the true Messiah comes back, Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam said that he will come down from the sky with his hands resting on the wings of two angels. He's going to come down in a masjid in Damascus. And I had some problems with this hadith, I have to confess. I said, why Damascus? He went up in Jerusalem. So why is he coming back in Damascus? You know how I like to ask questions. So I lived with this problem for some time until I realized, oh, wait a minute. The first time he came, Allah raised a man, Yahya alayhi salam, John the Baptist. And it was Yahya alayhi salam, John the Baptist, who pointed and said, here he is. This is the man you've been waiting for. This is the Messiah. Positive identification. And so when he's to come back, he comes back again where John the Baptist is, because his head is buried in Damascus, in Masjid al-Umawi. So now I realize why he has to come back to Damascus and not to Jerusalem. When he comes back, he's going to kill Dajjal. And after he kills Dajjal, then Allah will send فَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ. Allah will send. It does not say Allah will release. No. It does not say that Allah will release. No. It says that Allah will send Gog and Magog. And then comes the big conflict between Gog and Magog. وَتَرَكْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ يَمُوجُ فِي بَعْضٍ, which includes Star Wars. We've killed those who are on earth, now let us kill those who are in the heavens above. Gog and Magog mutually annihilate each other. And then the power of modern Western civilization is broken. And Israel is now defenseless. I hope Israel is listening. It is then that the Muslim army will come out of Khorasan and liberate every territory in a straight line until it reaches Jerusalem. There is no war to fight because the Jews are now on the run. At this time they're stamping their feet as oppressors and oppressing innocent people unjustly. Barbaric oppression. But at that time they go beyond the run. At the last moment, when Nabi Isa alayhi salam arrives, now the veils are removed from their eyes and they cannot anymore reject him as the Messiah. Now they are forced to accept him. But acceptance and belief at this time for Pharaoh did no good to him, into the hellfire. And acceptance when Nabi Isa alayhi salam comes back will do no good to them, into the hellfire. And so history ends with the destruction of the state of Israel, the impostor, with the destruction of Dajjal and of Gog and Magog, the liberation of the Holy Land. And now the truth is triumphant. And the truth which came from Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, which came in the Quran, that truth is validated. That truth is validated.